Hi, everyone. So, I want a journaling meetup, and we often talk about questions regarding journaling. Things like how often do you journal? What do you journal about? How do you keep things organized? What do you even write about? I will link the meetup in the description in case you're interested. But today I thought it might be fun to go over some of these questions because if people in the meetup group are having them, most likely some of you might be as well. This is the I Care About You podcast, and I'm Juliana J. And today we're talking about journaling tips and styles. First, I want to let you know that there is no right or wrong way to journal. Everyone eventually settles into some kind of routine or some kind of journaling way that works for them. Sometimes you need to stay motivated to keep journaling, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And that's one of the main reasons why people might start journaling and then stop, and then start again and then stop. But, maybe that's just your style of journaling too. You don't have to do it every day or every week or every month. You do it how it works for you and what works for you. So why would you journal? You journal to learn more about yourself, to work out the things that you need to work out, and to find correlations between situations. To record a record of your life can sometimes be why people journal. To be more in touch with your feelings and your attitudes. Sometimes people journal to work on relationships, to be more grateful, to cultivate abundance, and some people are really looking towards goals and manifestation. There are many different types of journaling, but I'm going to go over a few here, some of the biggest ones. So first, there's free flow writing. This is where you write a certain number of pages, or you do some sort of stream of consciousness writing. In The Artist's Way, she talks about that, the writer talks about that, and she says write 3 pages. When you first wake up in the morning, just write. Don't even think, just write. And that would be a type of free-flowing stream of consciousness style writing, meaning whatever comes to your mind, you write about it. This can be really profound because you will find out things you didn't know before, like how you felt about something that happened or how you feel about a person or a place or a thing. It might be bringing up things that you had felt but hadn't processed. For example, this used to happen to me all the time when I was writing and also talking to people. And something would happen to me, say at work, and I would, in the moment, just work through it, handle it, do whatever needed to happen in the moment. But then when reflecting upon it later, I realized that the situation really hurt me or made me angry or was upsetting or was demeaning. But in the moment, I wasn't processing that because I wasn't thinking that kind of thing would happen, or I wasn't prepared, or I was blindsided. And so I really couldn't formulate my feelings in that moment. But it was only upon later on in free flow writing or talking about it that how I truly felt bubbled to the surface. Another type of journal is a gratitude journal. We've all heard about this type of journaling before. It's where you list out what you're thankful for, or you write about things that you're grateful for. I keep this type of journal as well. Some people will write 10 things they're thankful for every day, or 5 things, or 3 things. Recently, I got a really great tip in the meetup group where someone said, I write what I'm grateful for, but then I also write why I'm grateful for it. Because we're doing a gratitude journal over time, you start to feel like you're saying the same things. Like for me, I have a gratitude journal and I would write 5 things I am grateful for every day. And consistently, coffee, sleeping, animals, and flowers would come up in my journal. And I started to feel stagnant about that and actually a little bad about it because why can't I come up with other things I'm thankful for? Why is it almost always those things? But when I started writing, I'm thankful for coffee because blah, blah, blah. I would have different reasons on different days, and it just kind of filled it in more. And in writing about why I was grateful for that thing, it actually led to something else, like my favorite coffee cup or, whatever the situation may be. So there's all different ways you can do a gratitude journal. And I thought that was a really great tip that person in the meetup gave, was to write a little bit more about why you're grateful. There's also journaling where you use prompts. This is where you use a writing prompt and you write about it. The prompts get you started on the subject matter. And that's what we do in the meetup group. We use prompts to write, but people also free flow write, and then we talk about what we wrote. But I usually come up with a list of prompts every month that we work with. Like recently, there was a prompt of, if you were anything in nature right at this moment, you had to describe yourself as something from nature. What would it be and why? And people said the most amazing things. Some people said air because they felt like they were everywhere and all around, yet nobody recognized that they were there. It's just so beautiful. So I think that journal prompts are fairly easy to find. You can Google them and use prompts. You can Google like journaling prompts on relationships or on goal setting or all different kinds of things. There's so many out there. And if you need help starting writing, or you want to work through certain things like using journaling prompts about self-love or something of that nature, prompts are really, really helpful in that regard. Then there's themed journals where you write about certain things in particular journals. So you might have more than one. You might have a gratitude journal. You might have a journal where you write your goals and your manifestations, and then you might have a free flow writing journal or something like that. Somebody, again, in the meetup has a whole bunch of journals, and they buy physical journals and they look for the cover that to them signifies what they're going to write about in the journal. And they found it very helpful because one of the journals they had was black, and it was for where they write things that don't go so well, that they're mad about or they're upset about or they're unsure about. They write in that journal. And that's been really, really helpful to them to feel like, oh, I can't wait to get home and write in my black journal about this situation. And I think the Black Journal says something really ominous on the front of it as well. It's, kind of Halloween-esque looking. And that really helped them to look forward to writing about that and to even start processing it before they put pen to paper. Another style of journaling is letters to others or to yourself. This is writing in a letter style way, maybe very similar to that Dear Diary, because you're writing to a fictitious sort of person in Dear Diary. But you can write to somebody you know or to yourself. People will write to their future self or their past self, those types of things. I really used this a lot when my mom passed away. It was a really, really hard time for me. I had a lot of unresolved feelings, a lot of sadness and grief, a lot of regret and feeling bad about times I didn't really put her first. And I wrote letters to her for an entire year after that. I think I got to around 80 to 90 letters that I had written to her. And by the time I had written all those letters, I I felt better. So it's really a beautiful way to communicate with somebody who you can no longer communicate with for whatever reason, or to talk to your child self or your future self. Another type of journaling is manifesting and abundance journals. This is working with your dreams and your desires and your goals to create manifesting. So a lot of when people are manifesting things, a lot of things they will do is write about what they want to manifest as though they already have it, like writing about having a successful job already and what that job would look like and writing it all out and then revisiting that and then having these manifestation goals written down and then using that information to really work with this thing you want to have, this goal you want to have, that it's available in the now to you. It's available right now. And what are you going to do to make that happen? Or what would show you it happened? If you woke up today and one of your dreams that you're trying to manifest had manifested while you were asleep, how would you know? What would tip you off? And writing about that. And there's a whole bunch of stuff you can write about in a manifesting journal. And I'll do a separate podcast on that in the coming weeks so that you can see how that is, because there's a lot of different techniques you can use in that journal. So those are a few examples. There's so many examples of how to write in a journal. And you can do all different types of, you don't have to have a journal that's just that. You could write a gratitude one day, manifestation the next day, free flow writing the next day, a prompt the next day, whatever you want. It's your journal. You can do whatever you want. Now, there are many more ways, but that's just a few of the popular ones. I also like to use, I have physical journals and I actually have journals on my computer as well. I have all different types, all different things. When I have a physical journal, I like to use different colored pens. Sometimes the pens represent different moods, or I might just be going for a certain aesthetic, like I'm going to write the top. I'm going to make the page look ombre, and so the top's going to be light, darker, darker of the same color, or something of that nature. I like to curate the page sometimes. I might add drawings. I might write in a non-typical way, like in a circle. I might write like that, or I might write across the page like this, or upside down, or all different types of ways. I learned that from my mom. She used to write letters that way, and it was always kind of funny to figure out where the letter was going because it was not written in page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, but it was more like page 1, page 2, 5, 4. on the back page, something else. And so sometimes I like to do that. I might add items to the pages, like a pressed flower or a leaf or a picture or a photo. Sometimes people ask, how do you journal? And there are just so many different ways, like I was saying. There's the old-fashioned pen to paper, hiding the journal under your bed or whatever. I do the style, like I said, of journaling to get away from screens. Sometimes it's nice to have that physical act of pen to paper because it just slows you down a little bit as you're writing. And there's just something different and tactile about actually writing, the physical act of writing versus typing. It's just different. I like to decorate the pages, like I said, use different pens and writing devices. I really enjoy picking out a new journal when I'm searching for one, searching for just the right one that embodies what I'm trying to put in the journal or embodies some sort of self-definition that's positive. I also use a doc on my computer. That's where the letters to my mom are. People use multiple different kinds of apps. There's so many journaling apps out there. And on the meetup, we have a list of them that we compiled. So if you want to look at that, you can go there and see it. Some people make private Instagram accounts and use it as a journal, which I think is pretty cool. A lot of the apps and in Instagram, you can tag all of your entries with hashtags, and one particular person uses an app and they have a list of hashtags that they consistently use. And as they're writing, if they're writing about something like self-hate or something like that, they'll hashtag it so they can go back and review all the times that they were talking about self-hate because they can use the hashtag to find them all and then see their progress or see where they are or see what reoccurring thoughts they might be having about it or reoccurring ideas. And that's a really great way to sort of be able to pull up journal entries easily. A private Instagram is really fun. A lot of people in Meetup use that. That kind of combines writing and visual together, which is nice. You can also vision board as a journal using a paper, or you can use an app like Pinterest. I also vision board on Pinterest, and I have so many boards, so many. But for me, that's really fun. Part of manifesting is like having a vision board and goal setting and things like that. To me, vision boards really work well. So that's another thing you can do using both an app or actual physical paper if you wanted to. You can use a sketch pad or a digital platform to create pictorial journals. Even this podcast is a type of journal, providing a record of things that I feel helped me in life. So I'm passing them on to you. So even a video journal is possible. It just all depends on what works for you. Some people dictate into a journal using a recording app, and that's all that they do, and they listen to themselves on occasion. Sometimes people talk journal. That's simply going somewhere private and talking to themselves and then jotting down things that come up that they feel are important. How often should you journal? It's really up to you. What do you need to do to have journaling be accessible for you, be a practice you can continue with? And in other words, how can you stay motivated? So some people journaling every day is impossible. How are they going to do that? You don't have the time. Other people, they can journal every day, or they're dedicated to waking up 20 minutes early to journal, or journaling right before bed. Or some people journal on their lunch hour. I used to dictate journal driving home from work when I had a long commute. There's all different ways you can do it and timelines. You just find what works for you. Some days you might write in your journal every day for 2 weeks because you're really trying to figure out something. And then you might put it down for a month and pick it up again and work and do it once a week or something like that. It's really up to you to find what works for you and how it can be successful. Some people only pick up a journal when they're working out something or something happened to them and they want to note it and jot it down and remember it. It just depends on what the reasoning for your journal is, how you're enjoying it, and how it works into your lifestyle. How often can you actually journal? If you are someone that needs a structure, perhaps you make a time to journal every day at a certain time and commit to writing a certain number of words or pages or a certain number of posts or whatever it might be. But if you know yourself to be someone who needs that structure, put that structure in place for you. I am a person that needs structure, so I write in my gratitude journal every morning when I wake up while I'm drinking coffee. Some people only journal when they need to process something, and that's cool. They may go months without journaling until something comes up. It's just a great way to process things and to also note the joys that we encounter. So if you're going to keep a journal where you're going to only process things, or when things come up, you're going to write about them, try to make sure you balance that out with also joys that you encounter. So you're not really writing down only the negative that's happening to you, only the problems and issues that are happening to you. You're also noting good things that are happening to you at the same rate. Otherwise, you could tend to move your attention over to what's not working instead of feeling gratitude for what is working. Giving joy as much attention as we give our problems is important to overall positive outlook. So keep that in mind. Some people have multiple journals and they use one for each mood and situations, like I said. Some people are journaling in groups, like the meetup that we have, to keep them working on journaling at least until they establish a routine. It's also a nice way to check in with people and get new ideas for journaling. What do you do with the journal once you're done? All different kinds of things, my friends. Some people apply a ritual, like burning them or destroying them in some way. Some put them under a rock in the backyard and let the elements return them to nature. If you're going to do that, make sure you use the right ink and pen and paper so that it's biodegradable, and you could do that. Some people erase them from their computers, and others keep them as a record for life. I keep mine. I saw this thing somewhere where somebody opened all their journals up to a certain day. I think it was July 15th, and they had like 15 journals. And so they could see on July 15th of all these different years what they were thinking and writing about. And I thought that was a really interesting way to kind of look at your life at times. Once you have a few journals completed, sometimes it's nice to look back. Journaling can be a hidden window into your deep self. Many times I've been journaling and I don't even know how I felt about something, and then it appeared there on the page. Like I said earlier about being mad about a situation that happened, or upset, or feeling like I was taken advantage of or something like that. Journaling about it later was really a way for me to get in touch with my feelings when I was so out of touch with my feelings in the moment that the situation was happening. It is a very valuable practice in learning about and communicating with your inner self, your inner knowing. It is a great way to get in touch with your feelings, outline goals and dreams, record life events, and to find joy and gratitude in life. So I hope you try this valuable tool for going inward and conversing with your true self. It can be a game changer for those of us who need a place to process life in a safe and personal way. And it can also allow you a space to be creative in this world where being creative is not so valued, and we're often told we aren't creative, so we don't do anything about it. It's a great way to be creative and in a safe place where you don't feel like you'll be ridiculed or anything like that if you have grown up in a space where people ridiculed you for your creativity, which happens a lot in modern culture. But I want you to know you're creative. Everyone is creative. So you can tap into that in your journal. As always, my friends, know that I love you and know that I support you, and you got this. And I can't wait to see what happens with your journaling. Take care.